God, I love it when the sun is out. Okay, let's take a little walk and we'll talk about the problems with sugar. The biggest problem with sugar is glycosylated end products, advanced glycosylated end products, AGEs. And it's said that once they're formed, they can't break down. And then you've got a real problem, especially in long-lived proteins like in the lens of the eye, the liver, the brain. So really, got to limit your sugar. You really have to limit your sugar. Oh, which way to go? I like this way better today. So yeah, the problem comes in eating too much sugar, which puts too much insulin in the body, and too much insulin in the body can prevent healing. It's too busy trying to drag glucose and sugars and stuff into your fat cells or into the liver for processing into triglycerides, whatever. The point is, not going to heal if your insulin's too high. We also know that if you're eating before you go to bed, your insulin's so high that the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus and the pineal gland can't release all their hormones. So you don't get any healing at sleep. So what do? What do you do? Well, one way is to reduce the sugars. Stop eating so much of it. You know, eat a little fruit every now and then, but get off the candies and the cakes and all that stuff. And the wheat's a whole other problem that Dr. Davis talks about, and I encourage you to look at his channel, Dr. William Davis. And one thing you can do is dry fast, though. If you want to know if your sugar's too high and you've got too much triglycerides and all that kind of stuff, just do a dry fast. If you get into ketosis in about 48 hours or so, you're fine. But if it's longer than that, you're getting rid of sugars because your body will use up all the sugar it can in a dry fast because that's what's been turned on. You're not drinking, you're not eating. It's trying to find as much sugar as it can in the liver and in the muscles, and it exhausts that out, and then it goes for fat. But during that time period, that 0 to whenever you get into ketosis, that's a measure of how much sugar you've got in the body. You got to get rid of it because what happens is these sugars bind with proteins, and the proteins end up being accumulated in things like the lens of the eye, and then you get macular degeneration, retinopathy in the kidneys, all kinds of bad stuff because you haven't controlled the sugar input. One of the things, you know, I didn't look for it because I didn't want to stop doing it, but, you know, I usually like lattes in the morning. Steaming milk produces advanced glycation end products. Back to black coffee. So, there's the trick. You know, there's certain things your body loves. You know, your mitochondria loves glucose, glycogen, loves sugars, burns them real fast, and that's fine. So, you know, an orange in the morning, that kind of stuff, a little bit is fine. Your body needs some. It's just when you keep packing it full of all these sugary foods and all these wheat products and all these glazed donuts and all that jazz. Don't wonder why it is you're ill, because you've got to get rid of this stuff or it will get rid of you. I mean, it's about that simple. We have a pretty interesting metabolic system that's able to deal with this, in particular autophagy. The reason dry fasting can get rid of AGEs is because dry fasting keeps you in that final phase of autophagy for days, that chaperone-mediated autophagy, where it can ubiquitous these proteins and folded proteins and bad things and get it into the ubiquinone proteasome system to grind it up into antigenic peptides and amino acids. And that's cool because that doesn't mean you can keep eating sugars. That means you can get rid of the ones you have and maybe save the lenses in your eye and things like that, which is significant. So the message today is reduce sugars to reduce AGEs, dry fast to eliminate AGEs that have accumulated, and get yourself back in health. You know, you've got to be able to have insulin plug into cells. And if it can't do it, if there's too much of it, it wears out the receptor sites. It just messes the entire system up. You know, people have illnesses, but they're not from pathogens generally. You know, they're from what Ray Peat used to call physiological compensation, where the body is so out of whack that it's designed to keep you alive regardless of what's going on. That's why it's so hard to kill people. And with food anyway, it takes a long time. So the plan is to just reduce the sugars, dry fast to get rid of some of the AGEs, yearly dry fast gets rid of most of them, if not all of them, and lay off the sugars. They hide it in everything. Maltodextrose, all this other stuff, you know, all these ingredients we never read on the side of the product labels. And you should. You know, you've got to be very careful about some of the stuff they pack into food. And because it's there to drain your income. It's not there to feed you. These are food-ish things. Do you think Doritos have any kind of a metabolic benefit to you? Do you think that Snickers bar or anything from Mars Corporation has any kind of physiological benefit to you? Nah. It's got excitotoxins and sugars that make you go and buy more of this stuff, so it makes them wealthy, and that's all it is. You know, this free market capitalism stuff. There should be an ethical market capitalism, but that ain't gonna happen anytime too soon. Anyway, so that's kind of the story today. You got to control your sugars because you want to control your AGEs. If you've got lots of, you know, skin marks and skin bumps and all kinds of stuff going on, you've probably got a system that needs to have that stuff taken out. And do a dry fast, 5 to 7 day. It's pretty easy. Get the book, Phoenix Protocol, learn how to do it so you do it safely. And please subscribe. Please send this off to other people that need this information. You know, my job is to be the messenger, and I guess your job is to be the listener. Anyway, it kind of works. So yeah, that's the message today. Lay off the sugars, go into a dry fast, get rid of your AGEs, and save your eyes, save your liver, save your brain. It's a good thing to do. Anyway, I talk about a lot of this stuff in a philosophy of time travel, but right now the best thing to do is get the dry fasting book and find out how to fix yourself. Anyway, love you guys. Take care. Have a great day.